Check, mic check, 1, 2.
Yo, is this thing on or what?
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Platform Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Dex. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to go hit that subscribe button. If you're listening to Apple Podcasts or Spotify, give us a follow. Leave some comments in there. Let me know who you want to see on upcoming shows. And, of course, just comment and tell me that you love the show as it is. So, as you can see, we are not in the home studio. I'm on the road right now out in Scottsdale. I'm doing some stuff for Barstool out here. But the show must go on. I have a bunch of friends out here that DJ. We are lucky enough to get one of them to take the time to sit down with us here today. So for the first time on the road, I got to introduce one of the Scottsdale DJs and producers, my foodie friend that I hit up every time I'm out here. Go check out all the newest restaurants. And he's basically my tour guide for it, but doing a lot of cool stuff, playing shows all over out here from Barstool to Casa Tempe to Sun Bar, Almost Famous, a lot of my favorite spots out here, and getting into a lot of production himself over the past couple years. Sitting down with Jonis. How's it going, man?
Pretty good. How are you doing?
Very good, man. Thank you for taking the time to come sit down, chill with me. I know usually when we're out here, we're either in the gym or in a restaurant or going to DJ together somewhere. So
getting some drinks at a little bar, around town.
There's a lot of hot spots that whether you, Cutswell, AJ Slim, some of these other guys, Jules, Valentine, have all always been ready to show me a good time, which is awesome. So I'm glad that you could take the time to sit down. We got a lot going on with yourself lately, doing a lot more of this production stuff and trying to put out originals and remixes of your own, as well as playing all over. I mean, like I mentioned, you have Sun Bar, you have Barstool, you have Almost Famous that you've been getting into a lot more. Casa and Tempe, you're always out there. And then, I mean, I'm sure there's more spots that you're at less frequently that I'm forgetting, but there's a lot that you have been getting into, and then getting into another little side project of your own that we'll talk about in a little bit. But to get started, man, we got a lot to talk about, from just the producing side of things, open format style versus these artist style sets. But let's kick it off with something hot here. Is open format DJing easier or harder than playing these artist style sets?
I'd say open format might be a little bit easier, in my opinion. I don't think there's that much music that's coming out recently that's really sticking around in these rooms and, getting these crowds moving. You see them trending a lot in TikTok, for a month or two. Mm-hmm. Something new will come out and you'll try it out the first month and it kind of just goes over people's heads, but then you go to something that came out 10 years ago, 15, maybe even 20 years ago. And, it just, that energy doesn't go away for that crowd and like those old hits. I don't know, like you do it for a couple of years and it works. Sometimes you'll catch yourself repeating, these tracks, but it's like, hey, these are club weapons and they're never going to get old.
Yeah, we actually just talked about that on the past podcast, where it's like, it's difficult to introduce more people to new music in open format venues. I feel like at artist style shows, people are more open-minded to being introduced to new music. These open format sets, it's like everybody wants to bitch online and be like, oh, DJs are all playing the same shit, but it's because they don't react to new music.
Yeah.
So it's like, then you get stuck, like you're saying, and then you go back to the certified club hits that are going to work all the time. So it kind of sucks.
Yeah, I'd say in like the past year, like 2025, there's maybe like 5 to 10 songs that got into the rotation of like being played, and sometimes those 5-10 songs came from 2024 or 2023. It's I don't know, especially like hip hop, it's getting like less and less stuff that's really like the crowd is really reacting to.
Yeah, you get those main, 5 to 10 people that are the ones that everybody likes and reacts to, but then a lot of the other stuff is just here and gone the next day. So it is definitely more difficult. With the side project that you were working on, you have Jonis as yourself, and this is something that I definitely want to touch on, is working with the two kind of brands and aliases that you have. So you have Jonis for a lot of your open format stuff. You just recently started a project called Sunlight, which is an awesome name. Then you're using that more for these artist style sets when you're doing support for a lot of these other DJs and producers and artist shows that are coming here. And here in the Phoenix, Scottsdale area, I feel like you guys get a very, very good amount of shows coming through here, festivals, whatever it is.
Yeah, I'd say Arizona has a very strong presence in the EDM community. A lot of house music in Phoenix, a lot of dubstep shows, festivals, every other month coming out here. They do a good job at like people flying to LA. The promoters here will like catch them on a connecting flight. Let's say they play in LA on Saturday. They're going to get them to come out here on Friday. It's kind of the perk of being in Arizona, even in Vegas too. It's a quick, short detour for the artist to come out here and play. For example, Omar Plus is making his debut in 2 weeks, but he's playing, I believe, on Saturday in San Diego at a festival called Crossed. I'll also be there too, but in attendance at least. But for Jonis, it started as an open format, kind of project, and then it kind of actually transitioned into like a lot of dubstep and bass, like melodic bass stuff. So I played a lot of sets, opening up for Bear Grylls, and I've done Crank That. I've opened up for Eptic and a lot of these bigger dubstep guys. And sometimes it would get confusing with the crowds. I'll play at an open format club like Casa in Tempe, and people who see me at a show there, they'll come there and be like, when are you going to throw in some dubstep?
Like expecting you to play it? Yeah.
And I'd be like, this is not the room for that. I'll sprinkle in a little bit here, but in those kind of clubs, I kind of steer away from, too much dubstep going on. So that would get a little confusing sometimes. My Sunlight project, it is a newer project that I came up with late fall of last year. It's just a lot of grooves, deep melodic sounds, and it's just like all house music and stuff. So it's kind of touching in between like, funk and like a little bit of disco, but more just like deep house is what I would say.
Not getting into like the harder tech house, darker house like that.
I enjoy playing like, just like deep melodic stuff with that project. And I have a lot of stuff a lot of tracks stacked up for it as well that I'm ready to release.
Yeah. So what's like the rollout for that? I mean, obviously with a brand new project, then you have to start thinking about how you're going to do releases and advertising rollouts and all this kind of stuff for social media, like specifically for this brand. I know that we've talked about it outside of the show where it's like just getting logos and press materials and all these kind of assets set to separate Sunlight from Jonis. And then as far as like the releases, because I know that you've sent me projects already for Sunlight that you've done and finished and are working on putting out. What's it looking like for basically completely rebuilding a new brand? And then what's like the strategy for a lot of these rollouts? Is it something that you're pushing these tracks to specific artists or to specific labels, or just going to plan on putting them all out independently and just seeing where it goes?
Yeah. So right now I do have a remix pack that I'm ready to drop in March. Starting from scratch is really tough. I had to go and get logos done, see which designs I liked. What I've learned with like starting something new, or what I've learned these past couple of years, is branding is everything, especially to an artist. You need to make something that looks good on a shirt or a hat, and if it looks good on that, those are easier to sell versus, just the name Jonis. I didn't have anything really great to, sell off of that whole branding, but Sunlight, like we came up with the design, me and my friends, like I would buy this off of a shirt, and kind of branch off of that. I had to like rebuild like the whole following on that, on Instagram, start with 0. And SoundCloud, I kind of just transitioned like the whole Jonis project into Sunlight. There's still like some dubstep remixes you can find on there.
Okay.
But moving forward, I'll probably leave them on there because it still gets a good amount of listeners on there. But moving forward, I, would only be putting out like all my Some Light remixes or originals on there. I do have the plan with the remix pack. I feel like remixes are a great way to consistently get content out for your brand. Like remixes of popular tracks is a fairly easy way to gain an audience and to gain fans versus putting out originals, unless the original is like a hit, and that's the hardest thing to do, is to make a hit like that. So the release strategy is I have to do something I'm not comfortable with, so I got to do videos and content. I don't like being on the camera. I hate pictures. I hate, all that stuff, but I feel like in this new time, it's a necessity to 100% do that.
Yeah.
And, I'm kind of a shy guy. So doing all that, I always think to my head, like, oh, I'm going to look, goofy as hell, or like, but I'm like, at this point, sometimes you just got to stand there and let the music play. And that's more than enough sometimes, I don't see myself doing like dances or anything like that.
You're not going to become a TikTok dancer?
Nah, definitely not.
Find some choreographers out here.
Yeah,
for sure.
something like that. But no, I'll probably just like, I don't know, just have a camera in the background, kind of just record myself doing something, anything,
So is the remix pack going to be like the first thing that you release?
Yes, it's 5 tracks.
Okay.
I think I've been working on this since July or August of last year. So it's been a while. I've been sitting on these. I've been sitting on like 3 tracks already done, ready to go. But then I'd come up with another idea for branding, or just come up with another track that'd be like, oh, this would be perfect for everything that I want to do. There's a lot of Spanish remixes on there. One of them is an R&B track. Another one is brand new off of what's his name? Don Toliver's album too, So like I come up with these ideas and like, this fits exactly what I want this, pack to sound like. And this is honestly like what I want the whole project to sound like too. So
how do you go about like what makes the cut for this or not? Like if you're saying that you have 3, do you already have all 5 already made?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if you're saying like you had 3 right now and you're wanting to be 5 and then some are going to end up making the cut and some aren't.
No. So I had like 2 or 3 other ideas that I want to throw in, but I think I'll save it for the next pack.
Yeah.
Who knows? But these ones, like I finished 3 and I sat in for a while. Like, do I just release 3? Then start working on like, the design, the graphic, or what I want to look like to catch people's eyes, how I want to put out the content. And then in between that, I'll come up with an idea of a song and then start working on that. Like, no, this would sound great on the track. So,
yeah. So, I mean, obviously with the 2 separate kind of identities, you're able to do completely different things, but we've talked about how the confusion is there with some of the fan bases, and that's kind of what led you to doing a completely separate project, so that way you can separate the 2 identities. For you as a DJ, like I've been able to see you play all these different styles of sets, where I've seen you play support for massive artists like Don Bresky and 2 Friends. I know that you've done stuff for Bolo, you've done stuff for so many other artists, and then you have more shows coming up that I don't know if you can talk about or not. But then I've also seen you play open format sets where you're playing rock and country and top 40, then Latin, then EDM, and you're basically hitting every single genre as a true open format DJ. And then I see you get hit up to do shows opening up for Buck Cherry, where it's like you're going to be playing a bunch of different rock shit. And it really truly shows like the range that you have as a DJ. How does playing the Jonis style sets kind of give you the freedom to be able to play all these other shows where you can kind of get into all these different genres, and then also having Some Light where it's like you can be a little bit more protective of what shows that you want to do under that name, but then still being able to field offers for all these other shows and events. And if you do want to do it, you can do it and just put it under the Jonis name, still get all like the practice for it, and just kind of more fan recognition too.
Yeah. So I'd say like the Jonis is just like, open format. You can play anything from clubs to, a house venue to, what is brand new for me is the Buck Cherry, DJ opening set. I'm pretty excited to do that. When I got hit up for that, I was like, I'm very comfortable playing rock and like country. So like, let's do it, and, I'd like to see them live for the Jonas project, it's all about experiencing new things, I would say. So I've never been up to like Cave Creek or like that, area. And I guess they have like a bikers week going on out there. And right across the street is Buffalo Chip. So it's like a rodeo spot. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go play this opening set and I'm, explore around, I've never been here. So for Jonas, I feel like it's all about, touching all genres and just having fun with it.
Yeah.
Versus some light, like you said, it's more protective. I want this to have its own identity. I don't want it to be, tainted with, it's another, house into dubstep drop, kind of thing. No, this is like something I really enjoy and like want to, keep it itself.
Yeah, I feel like it kind of gives you the ability that a lot of other DJs don't necessarily have. Where, I tell a lot of these younger guys, like, not every gig is the right gig for you. So, and it's harder because like a lot of these younger guys just want to take every gig because they either need the money or they're just like trying to get their foot in the door. Where for you having some light, can be a lot of gigs that get offered to you that then you're able to turn down and be like, no, I don't want to do this. It doesn't fit. But instead of having to turn it down completely and not make the money off it or not make the connections or get your foot in the door, you can still take it and just do it as Jonas.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's got to help a lot with the kind of multiple brandings that you have and two different aliases too.
Yeah, that's the nice part with Jonas. I don't got to worry about, this is my brand. I'm like, no, this is just like, a kid having fun, just trying to experience everything that he can and, just get under his belt. So
that's awesome. As far as playing these sets, how do you think it benefits you playing such a range of sets where then obviously preparing stuff for a Buck Cherry and then a Two Friends and a Dombresky and then just a regular open format set? Do you think it helps you learn so much more music?
Yeah, I would say it does. It honestly helps me with like my other projects, Sunlight as well. I'm learning new stuff. I didn't start playing country and rock till like 2 years ago when I was DJing over at Whiskey Row. I knew nothing about it, a little bit, but not too much. And I started learning more and more songs. And this kind of like gave me more inspiration, to, make these kind of remixes, just more words, like more catchy melodies, all that kind of stuff that I can just translate. And, stuff that you want to really hear on like, a normal like club setting venue, like kind of all sounds the same, sometimes. So separating yourself with that to a different, environment definitely helps improve, your
overall sound.
Yeah.
Not really knowing any of that kind of stuff. And now I can listen to you play an open format set and you'll hit all of these good rock songs, good country songs, and just makes you more of a well-rounded DJ for sure.
Yeah, it definitely led to new opportunities, to opening up for a rock band. So,
yeah, how did that come about? Like, who hit you up for this Buck Cherry show, and where did they hear you that they were like, yeah, he'll crush this?
It's a Relentless Beach show. It's their new Moonlight kind of like promotion like side thing that they do. I believe they hit up Brett Ortiz about it first, and then I think he's doing that whole Boots in the Park kind of like events all around the country. Yeah. So he's not in that weekend. So I guess he recommended me that I was able to do it. And then they hit me up. So wasn't
nice
the first choice, but
every now and then.
Yeah. So like I said, when they asked me, I was not thinking this is not my brand. I'm like, no, I'm so down to do this. This is a completely different experience. So
yeah, that is nice. 'Cause I feel like that's like something that I would look at and be like, this doesn't really fit. But yeah.
Yeah. And nice especially when you do open a format for so long, I'm going to sound like strategy right here. I'm like, here we go again. I'm going to play A Ladies,
Yeah.
Ooh, or like Bottoms Up. Like I'm so sick of those songs. So now I get to go in there and play some,
completely different.
Yeah. I'm going to play like Limp Bizkits and like, fucking, I don't know, like some old like classic hits like Bon Jovi and all that. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, and go to a different spot that you haven't gone to and network with some more people. And
they got live bull riding up there too.
So. Yeah, are you going to do you going to ride the bull or what?
I don't think they do it on Saturdays, but I probably wouldn't.
Who was it that like broke their back doing it? Didn't somebody out here go and do it and they fucking broke their back riding the bull?
I don't know.
I thought Cutswell told me that somebody did. So I would definitely do that. I think it'd be fucking awesome. But
if I was like fully like guarded, padded up,
Yeah.
maybe. But I've seen like TikTok videos of a kid like get his legs stuck on the bull and now he's being flung around and all
just
that.
whipped around.
Yeah.
Wouldn't want to do that, but
No. Maybe I think like, have you seen like the sheep? People like would ride like a little sheep or like a little goat or something.
no, I feel like that's pussy shit.
No, I think I would do that instead.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about Scottsdale. I've been coming out here, obviously. I mean, basically every month, every other month for the last year and a half, 2 years. Nightlife wise, I personally think that I've seen it decline. And obviously, Scottsdale is so much more different than a lot of these other markets where it has a definitive slow season because it gets so fucking hot here. So basically from June through, I mean, almost, I would say up to like September, October, like you get a slow season because it is so warm and like tourists just don't come here because they're not going to come here when it's 115 degrees. But also I think what hurts Scottsdale is they price themselves out. Like if I'm a tourist and I'm wanting to go somewhere, I look at that kind of stuff. And even in the industry, I come here and I know so many people from coming here so much. And I'm still like, fuck, dude, it is so expensive to come here.
Yeah.
Like everywhere that you go to a bar, you get 2-3 shots, you're paying $100. And like we went to dinner last night with 3 people, spent almost $500.
Yeah.
And it's just fucking insane to me. And I feel like they're pricing themselves out of the regular tourist crowd. And that's where I feel like Nashville is starting to thrive more, is because people would rather go to Nashville than a Vegas, a Scottsdale, a Miami, because the shit is just so expensive. Where in Nashville, I still think it's like more reasonably priced to be able to go there. I think a lot of like the dinner spots and stuff are a little bit more expensive, but like for the most part, you can go to Broadway and still get beers for fucking $5-6 at a lot of these spots. And I come here and if you go out, you're spending
100 minimum at least.
Yeah, at least. So
yeah.
And it's just wild to me because I don't get how some of these markets don't look at it and be like, we can lower our prices. We're still going to make a shit ton of money. And instead of people coming up to the bar and buying one round and being like, well, I'm not going to buy another one because I just spent $100. If you lower those prices a little bit, you're still going to make a lot more money. People are going to buy more than one round because it is just the $20 cheaper on that one round.
Yeah.
That makes them be like, all right, yeah, now I'll get another one. And then as far as like just the tourist aspect of it, I think that less people are going to end up coming here, which then now I've seen every weekend that I've been here for the last month, I go over to the Vortex and it's like none of those spots are popping. I feel like since I've been here the last couple months, there's 3-4 spots that are doing really good where they're like consistently busy. And the majority of them aren't even like nightclub spots too. And I don't know if I'm just like randomly coming here on bad weekends, if you're seeing it too from being out DJing. I don't know if like Tempe is different a little bit, just being closer to the university versus like down here in Old Town. But what are your thoughts on that and like Scottsdale and where it's going with the nightlife industry here?
Yeah, I can definitely agree with them overpricing things. There's been a Sunday where me and my friends would go out to a club. They're having some sort of, event party there. 3 shots for the round. And it's like $80. And we're like, this is ridiculous. There's like 20 people in here. Let's leave and go somewhere else. It is pricey. And, I hear a lot of theories of why they don't lower the prices. It's like, oh, we have all these other new spots opening up. We want to keep these prices there. So when, let's say the economy gets really good and everybody starts coming out here again, we don't look like we're raising, we haven't changed anything, and I feel like a lot of people there are just like sitting there waiting for this to happen. But in my opinion, I mean, I've only been out here for 5-6 years coming out to Old Town. I heard pre-COVID it was like, really good. Post-COVID, like the first year or two was really good, but then a drastic incline, the culture changed. Everybody wants to go to dive bars. Everyone wants to go to like, they want to see live music. They want to Like Boondocks. It's the first place that I started DJing when I came out here. And that place has always like been busy
every time I'm here.
Line down the street, inside's always packed on a Friday, Saturday, and people just love that, and I like the place too. The staff there's great. The prices are reasonable compared to like going to a nightclub that doesn't even have a dance floor, and they're charging $20, $30 a shot. So where you can go get a shot for like, 10 to 15 over at Boondocks,
Yeah.
And, that's actually like one of like the places I always recommend when people are running around town and I'm visiting, like, oh, where do I go? I'm like, you want to go to a nightclub or a bar? I'm like, oh, let's go to like a bar. I'm like, go to Boondocks. That's a great spot. Another theory that I hear is that, they know that they're not going to last a while. So why
trying to make as much money as they can
just
now?
Just money grab it. Yeah. And then like, when it's time to close, at least they made whatever they could have made, during that time. So I don't know. I haven't really talked to much of the people in that whole vortex area, but it can go either way,
Yeah, because I mean, Boondocks is one of the spots that's just like always popping every time I'm here. And like you said, I mean, I feel like pricing wise, it's reasonable. The dive bar stuff is another thing that we talk about so much, where it's just like, dude, it's very difficult to get people to come to a nightclub and be like, hey, spend all this money. There is no dance floor, or it's so packed in here that like you can't even move unless you have a section, and then you're paying a $2,500 minimum on a weekend anyway. So then you're having to spend all that money too.
Yeah.
And people just don't want to do that. They'd rather just go to a bar, be able to go and grab drinks and hang out, as opposed to being like, all right, the only way that we're going to be comfortable in here is if we drop $2,500.
Yeah.
And it sucks. And I'm surprised that like more venues and people aren't realizing and kind of making a shift for it. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. And we'll see kind of how long that a lot of these places do last. I do think that like here in Scottsdale, it also varies too, because all of these spots are owned by basically 3 companies. Like all of Scottsdale basically is either you're an EEG venue, you're a Riot House venue, or you're a Jock Concept.
Yeah.
And
Jock's crushing it, by the way.
Yeah, Jock is Rodeo is fucking awesome. Almost Famous is awesome. Obviously, Diego Pops, Montauk, like all their spots that they have.
Kill Club.
Yeah. They're crushing it, and none of their spots are nightclubs aside from Almost Famous would be the only one, but it's like a curated house music venue.
Yeah. It's just bars, and like I was going to say, it was lounges too.
Yeah.
Very, very popular right now too. Because if you're spending $20, $25 in a nightclub to where you're not comfortable, you can spend $20, $25 on a lounge where, you have your own section without having to buy, a bottle, and, you have room for your friends and yourself to like relax and enjoy, and still be social, in the area. So those lounges, like especially like Kill Club, a little pricey, but it's, it's busy, and everybody has like the room to kind of do it. I mean, it can't get slammed though.
But even still, like you have room. There's darts there that are fucking awesome. You have pool tables and stuff, and there's still enough room for people.
Yeah, seating everywhere. You don't have to. There's no minimums there, so you can enjoy yourself.
Yep. And then you go to like Rodeo, and Rodeo is obviously like a smaller venue, but they're fucking crushing. Good music, country music, all just kind of put in through there. So it's like it's a country spot that people can go to.
Yeah.
For a spot to find out here. Almost Famous is one of my favorite spots to come out to. I mean, I obviously just like the house and dance music realm. A lot of times that I do come out here, they have good artists that are coming through here, or just like friends of mine that I know they're playing, whether it's you or Strategy being here the other week. I've seen A-Craze there before, and all these other different artists. But that's a good vibe too.
Yeah, and they have a dance floor,
Yes.
So it's like
yeah, their setup in there I think is really, really good. Big DJ booth for people to have people in the booth, but then right in front you have an actual like dance floor, and then you have
the tables,
all of the section and stuff too. So you can still capitalize off of the people that do want bottle service as well. I mean, EEG spots I don't want to bash, but Casa Amigos is fucking idiots. So I don't have a problem with that. Riot spots I've worked at a bunch. I love Whiskey Row out in Nashville. I used to play at El Jefe and a bunch of spots in Chicago too. And then have friends that work there. But I just think like all of the spots here are all just kind of copy and paste, where none of their spots really have any variety that are at least like in the vortex. Like
Yeah.
even if you go from Whiskey Row is not like a country spot out here.
Mm-mm.
So
No.
as far as like having the branding of Dierks Bentley, it doesn't really do anything for them because it's still a nightclub just like you're going to go to, and you're going to hear the same music there that you're going to hear at Hefe or
Riot or
any of these other spots.
Yeah, they definitely had the opportunity to stand out and be completely different, you know. But before I even got there, I'd walk in and they're playing a lot of EDM stuff, you know, and you know, it's or like hip hop. I'm like the copy paste thing.
Yeah,
it's a big joke, you know, because like a lot of DJs make, because we'll walk in, you know, one venue, come to the other one and be like, damn, was that DJ just playing there?
Exact
you know?
same song.
Same songs, you know, same thing. And, you know, when you go to Whiskey Row, you're expecting something different, but it's like, it sounds just like the venue next door. So it's like, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
At Whiskey Row, they had the opportunity to be different. And when I was getting in there, the direction that I was given at the time was, I need omni energy. I need, you know, all the hits, you know, but like keep it like 120 BPM, or like if you go into hip hop, don't be there for too long. Like I want, you know, just like Vegas. I wanted to sound like Vegas. I'm like, all right, you know, and you could tell that crowd was like, they'll have their moments where they're enjoying it. And next thing you know, I'm DJing, I'm getting a tap on the shoulder, or, you know, someone's pulling me on. I'm like, I thought this was a country bar, you know, when am I going to hear some country?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I can either make the people happy or piss off the manager, you know, it's one of the two. And, you know, I'll do my best to like mix into that, you know, country. And it's crazy because, you know, 2 years ago at that time, you know, one of the biggest artists that were coming out was Morgan Wallen. He's coming out. I mean, in Nashville was probably like way bigger out there earlier.
Yeah.
But, you know, in Scottsdale, it was like, this is getting really like popular. Country is getting very popular. Why are you not playing more country at this club? And then I can't remember how long ago Rodeo opened up. I'm pretty sure it was last year, maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah, they got to be a little over a year.
Yeah. So when they opened up, just straight country, straight, you know, they'll splash in some rock, you know, stuff like that, but primarily country. And everybody who loved country was just showing up there the entire time. They did it right. You know?
Yeah.
Not my first rodeo. We're going to play country. Whiskey Row, Dierks Bentley's. We're going to play open format and not have too much country in there. So it's like, I don't know, guys.
It doesn't make sense to me because you have all the other venues. So you have the luxury to have different formats at your different venues instead of making them all the exact same place.
Yeah.
And I think that just goes to like a lot of the team that you're building within your venues, not understanding like the vision of the venue or being able to kind of get on board with the brand and what aligns with it, and just pushing like what you particularly want as an individual. And I see that obviously so much just going from city to city and hearing from all the other different DJs that are like, oh, well, management is telling me to play this and management's telling me to play that. And it doesn't fit the venue at all. I mean, even we were at a venue out here a couple weeks ago, which is like a nicer upscale luxury spot. And then you come to find out the manager is wanting them to bang out like peak hour club music.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is your team. That's your team that is just completely misaligning your own brand. And then they're going to make all the DJs do this. And it just doesn't fit the venue and the vibe and the aesthetic or anything at all.
Yeah.
But that's the team that you have representing you.
Yeah. Like you have the perfect location, you know, there's a lot of foot traffic in your area. Why do you want to sound like everybody else? You know, you have, you know, I actually saw a Strategy 2 weeks ago playing there, and he was playing like a lot of funk, a lot of disco, a lot of sing-along stuff, 70s, 80s stuff. And it wasn't heavy, but you could see everybody was just dancing, screaming, you know, just having fun with each other, you know, that entire place. And I'm like, this is what this needs to sound like. You do not need to sound like, you know, it does not, clarity and booyah and all that other stuff does not need to be played at this venue.
Yeah. So looking at that, I mean, obviously we've talked to this summer, you're looking at popping over and going to another city just with Scottsdale slowing down so much in the summer season. I know you've talked about going to New York, going to Florida, just testing out another city for a month, meeting some new people, networking, getting your foot in the door to DJ in other spots, just because it's worth it with it slowing down so much here. For what you're seeing in the future, I think that Scottsdale personally, like, you guys get so much as far as the electronic scene goes for festivals and artists coming through here. And there's a lot of opportunities to be able to play support for these artists or jump on these festivals and kind of build your name in the electronic scene. But then everything outside of that, like, does Scottsdale really feel like a market that you want to bet the rest of your career on? Or is it something that you have thought about getting out of this market at all?
I think it's a great place to be based in, but to bet my career on it, no. I like Arizona itself because it's a short flight to, Vegas, short flight to California.
Mm-hmm.
Texas is right there too. And then if I want to get to other spots, they're a little further. But I think those like markets in the area are probably, the best ones to be around, and without having to pay the price too, versus, $100, $200 flight.
Yeah.
Versus paying $4,000 in rent a month at, a small spot in San Diego or LA,
Yeah.
So it's a nice place to, be at, but to bet on your career, I don't see it doing too much besides, like, like the promoters are putting on the big EDM shows, and those are great and all, but those people like live somewhere else. And I feel like the communities elsewhere are more collaborative versus here in Arizona. So I've been here for, 10 plus years now. I've been DJing out here for, 5 or 6. I've experienced the summers. There's nothing going on here. So this year I'm definitely in the position to where could want to leave for a bit, for a month or two. I'm thinking like, June or July, and I want to do like New York for sure. Because I feel like, the weather there is pretty nice. It is very congested compared to here in Arizona, but I hear the community is great out there. There's a lot of collaborative people out there. They're all working together. Same thing with Florida as well. It's humid there, but everybody's working with each other. And for me, I want to leave the scene for a bit and experience new environments, work with new people, meet new producers, and even see like new parties, like what they're doing out there. So
yeah, try and pick up on some new stuff of what's working there. See if that's what I'm always looking for, is just like what's working in these different markets and what differs from the market that you're in, because that's where you're going to pick up new music, just new, completely different ideas for parties too, and being able to kind of take those ideas and make them your own. Plus, obviously, then just the networking alone of being able to meet new DJs, new producers, all that kind of stuff is I think awesome too. So
yeah.
For what you're doing as far as like both of your projects, I mean, is there a lot of people that you are collaborating with? I mean, I know that you've done a lot of stuff with Netgate. Are there other people that you have targeted for who you want to collaborate with?
Locally in the area, my friend Tej, he goes by Cakewalk. We did have a bass remix that we worked on together. We plan on putting that out, later, but that's, for like the Jonis, project. Another guy I've been working with was Soleil. We kind of just like just started getting studio time together. So he actually has like a really great like work ethic to himself with his own stuff. So having him in the studio for the first time a couple of weeks ago, I was pretty impressed with like, how dedicated he is to like, get something down, get like build a foundation of an idea and then building off of it. So, versus just coming over and fucking around,
Yeah.
So
not having like an actual plan.
And he's a young guy too. So it's like, he's pretty like, he's well driven.
Nice.
Besides that, I haven't really tapped into like collaborating with I know there are quite a few producers out here, but I don't know. They kind of keep to themselves, they kind of, I don't know. I just haven't really heard any, like never get hit up like, hey, you want to work on this? So
you have a bunch of talented people out here. I know like Anata lives out here, right?
Yeah, Anata lives out here.
And he's been
Freak On is also out here as well.
Okay.
I think BG lives out here too.
Ryan Shepard lives out here too?
Yeah, he is out here.
So yeah, I mean, you got a bunch of people that are making waves at least. Like who else is like next up from out here?
Next up wise. Yeah, like, I mean, he's already up, but Dennett. Dennett's like, the dubstep bass producer. Yeah, he's he's blown up these past like 2 years, and he lives right in Tempe.
Yeah,
so.
he just did the John Summit remix.
Yeah, so he actually won that competition. So he lives in Tempe. So I think he went to school in Tucson and moved up here. So, but he's up. I think he's already up. You know?
Yeah.
He's already touring.
Is he playing out here? Or
I think he has his first headlining show at some bar.
Okay.
In March, actually, coming up soon.
Yeah.
So
and he'll just sell that out in a second.
I'm sure they do it very well. Yeah.
Summit just fucking blowing him up. So.
Yeah. He's got an ear for sure. He's very impressive with his production. But
is that someone that you've like met or like connected with at all? Okay.
Yeah, I have my friend. He introduced us. We all went out to like California, hung out together.
Yeah.
And but yeah, like recently I haven't seen him too much because he's gone every weekend. He's on tour all the time. So,
which is awesome.
But he's also been producing since he was like 16, 17. So he's been at it for a very long time.
Yeah. So looking at collaborating with a lot of people and then obviously now putting out a bunch of your stuff, you talked about how you're going to put out this remix EP 5-track little pack that you're going to put out. Strategy just talked about this on his podcast. I thought it was actually a really cool thing that he talked about because it really just rang true to me. A lot of times looking at this podcast and mixed shows that I put out and stuff like that, you get so focused on the numbers of whatever you're seeing for how many streams it's going to get. On social media, you're looking at how many likes, comments, shares, views, all that kind of stuff. And he touched on how his podcast is getting 200, 250 views on YouTube, and sometimes he gets down on that. And then at the same time, he's like, dude, I have 250 people that are consistently listening to this every single week. And just thinking about the positive side of like how cool that is that you have a consistent fan base like that. With completely starting this new project of Some Light, is that something that you get hung up on at all when you are releasing these new tracks on a SoundCloud, on pushing them on Instagram, whatever else that you're putting on, and looking at the numbers and the analytics and being like, fuck, like this isn't enough. I need to have 10,000 on this or something like that. Or do you look at like the consistency of it and be like, damn, I'm getting 500 on all of these. It's pretty cool to have like 500 consistent fans.
Mm. Yeah. I can definitely say when I first started producing, it was like, I only get like a couple hundred, plays on some songs. And I'd be like, my friends over here, they got, tens of thousands, 100,000 plus plays,
Mm-hmm.
Artists are playing all their stuff. And it's like, you're kind of chasing that, satisfaction of being like heard or, being supported. But I feel like now it's like doing something you really enjoy doing.
Yeah.
Comes first. And then the whole support and the plays come after, you will find your market, of listeners who enjoy the same sound that you're making nowadays or not now. And, it is tough, but you got to see it. It was like, do you really want to do this? Things don't start off, hot. You're not going to be the most popping producer right away.
Yeah.
So I like Strategy's take on that of just, seeing the positive of it and like, hey, I have 200 listeners now, this is way better than, 0.
It's definitely good to look at the positives for it. And it's hard sometimes to have that silver lining and just stay positive with the way that everything is right now on social media. Of like, you base everything that you do off of somebody else, of like, oh, they have this. And like you said, you're like, you look at a friend of yours and they're like, fuck, they're getting 100,000 plays. Like, yeah, you want that.
Yeah.
But it's all just about working up to it and building up. So
yeah, it's all about enjoying the journey.
Yeah.
I think is like just the most important thing. I've been producing for 6+ years now, and I'm always like thinking like, oh, I really want a big artist to play my stuff.
Yeah.
And I actually just had a Levity. They downloaded my I Only Smoke When I Drink remix, and they played it out here in Arizona, sold out show. And for a day, I'm like, holy shit, this is awesome. I'm so excited. They're like the top 5, top 10, biggest dubstep DJs in the world.
Yeah.
And then like a couple of days passed by, like, all right, now what? I didn't gain anything from that. I mean, besides, my own like, dopamine, levels going fucking through the roof. But at this point, it's like, okay, cool. Now what?
Yeah.
What's next? And then I don't even make, bass music like that anymore. So now it's like, okay, so let's go back to doing what I enjoy. I had my fun for, a couple of days. Let's go back and do what I really enjoy, which is, the whole Sunlight project that I've been working on. And I think that's all you really need at this point.
Well, we talked about what's coming up next for that with this newer release. What else are you looking at for 2026? I mean, is there targeted shows that you want to play, artists that you want to collaborate with under Sunlight, remixes that you want to target of certain artists, anything like that you already have on your mind?
The goal is to build, a solid fan base by the end of the year. So, I have the remix pack coming out this March. Over the summer, hopefully release, a couple more remixes. And hopefully by the end of the year, a handful of originals, and then 2026, we'll see what comes into there. But right now, this is my whole, I'm trying to take this step by step, so build my market, build my audience, and then, we'll see where it goes from there.
We're going to get your playlist from you of your top songs and then find out who you're going to put on a platform. But anything else that you got for me before we hit these last two segments?
No, just thank you for having me on here. This is a new experience, like I said.
Is this your first pod?
Yeah. So like I said, I'm ready to do a bunch of new stuff, this year and next year.
I love it. Well, hopefully we get this name out here. Sunlight Project. I mean, you've been sending me all the tracks. I love it. I just love listening to new music too. And obviously being a friend, I like to support some friends' music. But yeah, I mean, as a producer, you've grown a lot. And I know that's something that you're still going to keep working on, grinding. Every time I talk to you, you're either playing music and working on production or you're playing video games.
Yeah,
so.
one of the two. One of the three. Yeah.
Well, we're adding this platform playlist, so grabbing top 3 songs from all the guests on here. Can be songs that you're playing out in the club right now, songs that you're listening to in the car, during the gym. Doesn't have to be anything specific, just your top 3 favorite songs. What are they?
Okay, I would do Omar Plus, Make Believe, Prospa, Love Songs.
Nice.
And Rolling Thunder by Jamie Jones.
Okay.
Those things are just very groovy tracks, and you can't not like them, you can listen to them anywhere.
Fits the brand for you. I love it. Nice. We'll get those added to the playlist. Those ones I should be able to find all of them on Spotify because they should be all official releases. Some of them I have to add it to the SoundCloud playlist because they're not out on Spotify or Apple. So, But yeah, last thing we got to do, something we do every show, you got to put somebody on a platform. So it can be another DJ, artist, producer. It can be your favorite restaurant to go to out here, your favorite clothing store. Any person, brand that you want to shine a little bit of spotlight on, put them on the platform so these other people can go check them out.
All right. I would say you got to check out DJ Valentine. I feel like he's a very experienced guy. He's been out here for years, plays everywhere around town.
Yeah.
And on the radio too. So I feel like everybody knows that name when they're driving around if they're listening to the radio,
Yeah.
So, DJ Valentine.
Valentine's the homie. He just did a mix for the platform in February, I think. February or January. I don't remember which month, but he just did one. It was actually awesome. Great mix. Opened up for Twin Sick during Waste Management Week when he was out here and fucking crushed it. Played a really, really good set and got a lot of good feedback on him. But then, doing the radio stuff out here, he's kind of all over, dude. Playing Waste Management at the Bird's Nest and doing all this different shit. So he's a good one to have. Great DJ. You guys should definitely go check him out. And if you're out here in Scottsdale, either hit you up, hit him up, hit Cutswell up. They'll find something for you guys to do for sure.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's all I got. Make sure you guys are following Jonis. I'll put his socials for himself, for his project Sunlight. Obviously, if you're not following the pod, at the Platform Mix on all socials. Myself is at the DJ Dex. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Leave any comments, questions that you guys have for Jonis. If you're listening to Apple Podcasts or Spotify, hit that follow button so you guys can see when new episodes come out every week. And until then, we'll see you guys next Wednesday. Peace.
Check. Mic check. 1, 2.
Yo, is this thing on or what?